Hi everybody, Vincent here for Open Source Night, and today I wanted to talk about the Audacity privacy concerns that people are having in the community and their responses to it and my opinion on it, all that. So let's get into it. So looking here at their clarification of privacy policy on their GitHub page, you can see here they're addressing several different things. They say they don't sell any of the data or collect it, full stop. That's always good to hear. There is some things that I don't particularly think makes that much sense. Like the IP address thing, why are they collecting that? Why do they need to collect an IP address? I personally think that that's not necessary. So, and then why are you only just removing the salt from the hash as they've described after 24 hours? Why are you even storing it for the 24 hours? Like, clarify with us what the purpose for that is. Is this for DDoS protection, as some have speculated in this conversation here on GitHub, or for something else? Who knows what? I would like to get some more information. Okay, basic system information, OS version, and CPU type. Okay, I mean, personally, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Error reporting data, which it says is optional, can be sent manually by users as part of an error report. Again, as long as you're able to opt out of that error report and say no, I think that's okay as well. We do not collect any additional data beyond the points, blah, blah, blah. Compliance with law enforcement. Again, a lot of this is boilerplate as far as like the compliance with law enforcement part. I mean, obviously that's the price of doing business. You have to comply with law enforcement if they give you a subpoena for something, right? Case closed. You have to give it to them if they have a subpoena. Okay. Not a lawyer, but that's pretty much the way it works, at least in the United States and I'm sure other jurisdictions. As far as limited window after 24 hours, like I said, this is something that we already kind of touched on a moment ago. And again, like I said, I don't really agree with it. The offline use thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to quote apply to offline use, but I don't think most people are going to disconnect their computer from the internet to do this. One of the concerns that a lot of people have also brought up too is the GPL violation of putting a restriction on the software. So with GPL, you're not really supposed to put a restriction on how the software can be used. And they put a restriction that you have to be 13 or older. And I see why they're doing this, because in some places like the US, there's restrictions on collecting data on children under the age of 13 years old. Okay, that complicates things. I'm not a lawyer, but that's like the basics, right? The very like high level basics of it. So I get why that's in there, but it does have issues with GPL. It seems to me like that the best thing for them to do is they need to address these concerns with the individuals, or not the individuals, but the community better. The other issue that I think is really something they need to do, they need to make all of this opt-in. And I know that some people will say, and I mean, I get where they're coming from. Well, if you make it a opt-in system, a lot of people won't opt in. And I'm like, well, yeah, they probably won't. But to be fair, that is the user's choice. And the reality of it is, in the open source world, open source users, I think I can safely say that, we'll happily move. I even include myself in this to a certain extent, to another fork of the application if you do something we have an issue with. All right, whatever that may be. And there is already forks that have been created of the Audacity project that won't have this telemetry in it for error reporting and things like that. So personally, I think that most of the stuff they're collecting is not that bad, like OS version and CPU, like whatever. The big issue I have with is it should be opt-in, okay? And the other issue that I have with this is, why are you collecting the IP address, You can get it sent to you and not collect it. And if you are going to collect it, tell us why you're collecting it. Is there a reason? Really, all of this comes down to, like, the big takeaway for me at the very least is this company needs to communicate with the open source community better. What their intentions are and why they're doing what they're doing. I think that that's something that they should do. You're living in the open source sandbox, open source developers and users. I believe that, we have a, I don't know if I would say necessarily a quote right under the GPL. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like we should, it's a good conscience thing, right? So maybe you don't have to tell us exactly why you're doing everything, but you should. Okay, as a software developer myself, I don't make anything as big as Audacity. I build little scripts and little simple utilities and things like that, and mostly just for myself, and every once in a while open source something. but I would definitely not put some kind of telemetry in there like this unless that I made it very clear, look, this is why I want to be able to do this for bug tracking or whatever it may be, right? I'd make it very easy to opt out or in or whatever and keep it simple. And I think that that's something that Audacity needs to do. They need to make it clear what's going on, very clear. You don't need to have a law degree to fully understand what's going on. And they also should make it very clear that you don't have to participate in this, and make a very simple UI that says you can opt out, or even better, like I said, make it to where you have to actually opt in. Another suggestion I seen that I thought was pretty interesting in the discussion was make a beta version of Audacity, a beta channel, where that you submit feedback, like stuff like this, and this telemetry through the beta channel for like bug tracking and stuff on upcoming releases. I think that would be a great idea, and I would be okay with that personally. And then if you have an issue with the telemetry, don't use the beta version, just use the stable version. Personally, I'd rather use the stable version anyway, because I'm editing things with the software and that needs to get out every week, and I don't want to have to be dealing with crashes. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. I don't necessarily think that their intentions are as bad as other people have thought. I'm trying to give them a little bit of a benefit of a doubt, but it is pretty hard for me when I'm seeing things like, why are we collecting an IP address for no reason? Like, why are you collecting an IP address, right? But I think that at this point, they have pretty well tarnished their reputation in the open source community anyway. I may be wrong. I think that for normal users, the people that are not like super into open source software, yeah, those people will probably continue to use Audacity. But I think that for like a lot of the open source, hardliners, the people that are using like Arch or something, those people probably are not going to feel comfortable with this. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I hope this video made some sense, and I tried to be as fair and accurate as possible, but if I did get something wrong, please let me know in the comments politely. And until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching Open Source Tonight. Goodbye, everybody.